let's talk a little bit about the text box control, so we can add it to our Windows Form application, and in a way we get user input using a text box. It's by no means the only way of getting user input, but it is definitely one way. So create new project. Name it my name. There we go. Okay. There is our form 1. I'm going to go ahead and go into Toolbox right now and add a text box. Where's the text box? Under T for text box. There we go. Click, drag, boom. There's a text box right there. Okay, so that's what does that do? What is the text box? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and click form and set this to center screen. Okay, that's just so it centers on my screen. Now I hit play. What's the text box? Text box. Hello. I can type things in the text box, but if I hit enter, nothing happens. Well, okay. So what do we do? Well, I'm gonna go back here. Well, what do we want to do? We want to have the text box have some user input. So let's make a label, and this label is gonna say, "What is your name?" Question mark. See, there we go. And then we're going to have a label below. And we're going to leave that label blank, but we're going to call it, under name, we're going to call it LBL greeting, because we're going to use that in just a second. Okay, so we have what is your name, LBL greeting, all like that. And we're going to move it. There we go. Going to make a slightly smaller application. There we go. Awesome. Okay, so right now we have two labels, one right there called LBL name, one right there. We don't care what that one's called because that's not going to change. And we have a text box. We should give this text box a name too. Let's see, name. Now for text boxes it's TXT, and I'm just going to call it input since this is going to be our only user input. Now, when the user fills something in the box, we can handle that event in a number of ways. But what we're going to do right now is we are going to use a button. We're going to use a button in order to establish that the user is done filling things in. Okay? So here's our button. I'm going to go back into properties. OK, and btn submit. Okay, and remember how we did the button click event? We're just gonna double click here this time, and when button submit is clicked, lbl greeting dot text will be equal to hello plus txt input. That's where the user types something in. Dot text. There we go. Now, okay, let's see if this works. I hit play. And what is your name? I don't know. Henry. Sure. Okay. And it says hello, Henry. Okay? So that's a basic way of getting user input. Now, we're not done with the text box just yet. Let's mess around with it a little bit more. What can we do? Well, I went here into I clicked on my text box, I went here into my events, and I see here a text change event. Text change, an event raised when the value of the text property is changed on control. So let's double click that, see what happens. Now, let's see. If text is changed, let's see, lbl greeting dot text, we'll set it to is your name plus txt input dot text plus question mark. Let's see if that works. Okay, so I start typing George, and you see immediately it starts updating right here as soon as I'm typing it. So that's a different way of handling text entry. But what happens when I click OK? Hello, George. So what would be appropriate for that? Let's see, maybe if we found this label, moved it up here, move this a little down, move this label a little down, there we go, and change the text of this button to yes. Okay, that seems more appropriate. Check it out. I hit play. What is your name? B-O-B. Is your name Bob? Yes. Hello, Bob. So that's another way to handle user interaction. Now, there are lots of other events for you to play around with, and they're all listed here in the events panel. And each of them has a convenient description, like what happens when the component is clicked, when it's double-clicked, and they're all described for you. And basically, when you're programming, you think of how you want your program to act, and then you look up the appropriate events and see what you can find, because it would take forever to cover them all for all the controls, and some of them are even similar. Like for the text box, we have click, we have double click. Let's see, for the label, we also have click and double click. You see, they carry over from control to control. So you should familiarize yourself with some of these events and know that they're out there for you to use should you need them.